When I started reading the course about... Hi everyone, and welcome to the Holy Relationship panel. My name is Andy and I'll be your host today. And we're going to be joined with Eric, Susan, Peter, and Linda down in Mexico, and they're going to talk about how they're practically applying the course and turning their relationships into holy relationships. So I'll pass it over to you guys.
Thank you, Andy. Hi, everybody. Good to see you.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, this is a beautiful opportunity for us to just be transparent with you about our relationships and how we practice the course here. The four of us live in the community. I've lived in the Living Miracles community for about 10 years. And yeah, right now I'm in a relationship with Susan. We've been together for about 5-6 months now. And yeah, we're just looking forward to sharing with you a bit about what it's like to really, really apply the course in relationship. And maybe you guys can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Peter and Linda. And we've been married for a couple of years in the community. I've been in the community for about 10 years. And I guess, really just wanting to use this session for ourselves, for myself, just to kind of really get in touch with what it is to us. What does this term holy relationship mean? And just kind of share any insights we've had. So I'm looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to say anything?
Sure, I'll say something. Yeah, well, I came to the community about 2.5 years ago. I first came to Strawberry Field Festival, and I kind of stayed after that. And I met Peter at that festival, and we kind of got together really quick. The spirit kind of arranged us coming together. We both heard it and felt it like within a few weeks. And yeah, I stayed here and we've been practicing forgiveness together quite a bit. Yeah, it's quite a ride. I think we'll share a bit today about it. And yeah, for me, I feel this session, I really want to just stay really with the heart and really practical and just be authentic about what's coming up for us, like really like from the bottom up, practical, maybe parables. I don't know what's gonna come out, but we're just kind of available for you guys too. We want to open it up for Q&A and really hear from you. And if you have any questions or expressions that you want to share, we really want to hear from you too. But we'll just share a little bit and then we'll open it up a little bit later.
Yeah.
Say
something?
I've been in the community for a number of years, and most of that time was not in a relationship. There's just been a lot of opportunities in you could say relationships with the community members, like as in groups and as just like at certain centers and things, but I feel like just in the last few months since starting a relationship, like more of an intimate relationship with Eric, it's definitely shed light on a part of my mind that I didn't know was there. It's like, so I feel like there has been a huge gift in that, like just in terms of opportunities for healing and really just seeing thoughts, seeing beliefs that I didn't know were there before. So yeah, I just feel like this is, for me, this is just I don't know, it feels like an opportunity to just I think just be honest with where I'm at and what some of the healings that have happened recently and just how, probably what it's like on a kind of more of a day-to-day basis, and somehow I feel like that this is part of strengthening whatever I have learned in my mind. And well, I think we'll just have to wait and see what we end up sharing. But I feel actually excited to also hear what everyone else has to share, or to even, any prayers that you might have, or what have you. So we will get to that eventually. But yeah, this feels like a huge gift.
Yeah, we are. By the way, we are live streaming on YouTube right now, but we plan to cut the live stream on YouTube before we open it up. So if you want to just open it up and bare your soul to us, you can be assured it won't go onto YouTube. Yeah, but we feel happy to really just be very transparent with you. And we were just talking right before this meeting. We had like a meeting with the four of us to just explore like what's been coming up in our relationships. Susan and I have had some pretty intense forgiveness healings, and just deeper conversations around purpose and different relationship dynamics that we've both really had to just use to go inward, and where the ego would tempt us to believe that there's actually an interpersonal problem going on, we just keep doing our best to remember that it's not really an interpersonal problem. It's actually like a deeper spiritual problem, we could say, or it's a perceptual problem. And it's been really exciting, because whenever we have those moments where something really strong comes up, like some kind of strong emotion or an anger between us, then it does seem to take some patience and a lot of willingness to move through it with the Holy Spirit's help. But once we actually do move through it, there's such a feeling of lightness that comes in afterward. And I was just thinking the other night, like Susan and Linda went out for dinner, and they left around 5:30, and I talked to Susan and I said, I think it'd be good if you guys get back by 7:30, because there's a lot we have to do to prepare for tomorrow. And I didn't see them back at 7:30, and then finally at like 7:45, I got a call from Susan, and she said, "Oh, we're just waiting on our last order, and I don't know when we'll be back." I just felt this anger rising up in me. I felt really just triggered that she didn't even have the decency to call me beforehand and say, "Oh, we're going to be late." So I actually felt like I wanted to hang up the phone on her. It was just like a lot of anger. And and then we had a conversation later when you got back, and maybe you can share what that was like for you.
Yeah, well, this is good. This is like a practical example, right?
of a little relationship spat.
Yeah. Just go right into it. We're not wasting time here. When Eric and I sat down right when I got back, we were actually going to come and meet everybody to do something together. And I was saying, I can't move on. I feel like there's something here. We need to, it's like, maybe there's some words that need to be said or whatever. It just didn't feel good in my mind with him. And so I actually, okay. Cause I couldn't really read where he was at in the moment. But I just felt, okay, well, there's something here, and I'm just going to just allow it. I'm just going to, like, whatever it is. And so I just started to share all the thoughts that were in my mind, and he just kind of, just watched and, held the space. And yeah, some of the things that were coming out of my mouth, I was even like, oh my God, like I was surprising myself. I was like, oh, like, yeah, like, and this is a big thing for me too, because one of my patterns has been like just being a good girl and being nice and people pleasing. So not telling the truth, so to speak, about where I'm really at, even if it is not so nice underneath. And so this was actually, to me, this was like a perfect opportunity to just be honest, like just to say, so I was saying things like, I don't respect you. I don't care what you have to say. I was saying all this stuff that in my life before, I would never say that to a partner. Like that would be like a death sentence to a relationship. And here I was all just kind of coming out in this big, blah, thing. And anyway, so that was that. And then it's funny because at the end of it, I actually had all this fear. I thought, oh my God, like I actually thought this, he's going to like kill me or something, like he's going to hate me. And, I don't know if you can break up with each other in community, but it's like the equivalent of that, not talk to me again. I don't know what it is, but I had all this fear because of course the ego is terrified of honesty. It's terrified of authenticity, and it's just going to do it's afraid. It's just going to like come in really hard. So anyway, so that was that. And then, I actually felt, we actually came in afterwards, and I felt like it took me like a minute, I'll be honest. It took me a minute, but we were practicing some singing, and then pretty quick I was able to like really take a deep breath and realize, wow, this is good. Like I actually felt, and we connected a bit later, and I really felt like there was nothing going on. Like there wasn't, he didn't hold the grievance that I was picturing, or it didn't create any kind of a problem that I was imagining. I mean, the whole thing felt like it was like I made it up. Like I just made up some kind of a scenario that to get upset about, and it's almost like, I suppose, having to walk through something to face some fears and cut through some of the self-concept around the nice girl and people pleasing. So that feels like if we're talking about purpose, that felt like probably the main reason for even going there with that. But the end result, I think, is really just that there is that container where it's okay. It's okay to let this stuff out and just move through it to see that there's the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah.
It felt really good to me that she was just being really honest about these. She was just saying, yeah, I didn't really feel like I wanted to call you. And to be honest, I don't feel like I even respect you right now. I don't really care if we made an agreement for me to be back at 7:30. I just don't really care. And, I did feel some anger, but then it was like, oh, I'm glad she's being honest. And that just took me deeper inside. And then, I don't know. And then kind of it all just came up. And then I don't know what happened next, but something did. It was like the tension just cleared, and there was a feeling of just connection after all that honesty. But sometimes it feels kind of scary at first to be so radically honest with each other.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like we've, because we've been together for a while and we've really kind of put out this purpose of healing, often I think we know now that if there's this deep kind of darkness coming up or projections, that it's coming up actually because we want to let it go, or to expose this part of our mind that we wouldn't usually expose. So sometimes we just want to let something, the ego is always saying, don't say that, that's going to rock the boat. Don't say that thing. But now that we've kind of really established that these relationships are for healing, I don't take it seriously. Most of the things that we say to each other, even if it seems really like an attack in the world, we can kind of now we know the intention is for healing. We've really established that. We establish that every day. That it kind of feels like there's almost like a thank you underneath each time somebody, one of us allows that darkness to come up. And it's not to be right about it. There might be an initial feeling with something that might come up, there's a little charge, I don't want to listen to you or whatever it is, but then it's kind of okay, thank you for just letting me let that up.
Thank you for letting me have that little temper tantrum there. What do you think, Linda?
I was just pondering on that. Yeah, I think for me, because Pete and I have been in this relationship for 2.5 years now, and I feel like it's actually taken me this long to let more of the darkness to come up. I feel like it's like every time when I do it, there's like a deepening in trust. Like every time when I express as much as I can, because it's like the lid comes on pretty fast for me. Like, okay, I'll let this out, but not more than that. And
Take
so
the lid off and then put it back on.
yeah, it's like it's just really quickly how that can come in for me. And Pete has been like a symbol. Get emotional now. I feel really grateful. Like this symbol for me that just holds the space, like he's there, like no judgment at all. And yeah, it's been just such a gift, because every time when I take a step and the reflection is just like a gentle smile, or just like a holding the space and a thank you actually after I expose such darkness in my mind. So every time when I take a step, I just feel like I get like confidence or something. It feels like building confidence to like allow the ego to come up. And so recently there's been some dark stuff coming up for me, like really, really intense moments in these last, let's say, 2 months, that I feel like I've never looked at that deeply and allowed it up. So yeah. And I don't know go into anything further right now, but yeah, it just feels like because I actually in the beginning when I just came here, I felt like I need to expose the ego, and I tried it by myself. Like I tried in the expression sessions, and they were really intense for me because I tried to do it myself. But I feel like the spirit is saying, just relax. Whatever's going to come up is going to come up involuntary, and then you can allow yourself to just express that, but you don't have to go on a witch hunt and try to chase the ego out, because that was kind of my initial approach when I just came here, and it was like, no, just relax and it will come up whenever you're ready. And so it's been a journey for me to really be gentle with myself, especially when the darkness comes up. Yeah, I just feel really grateful actually to just have these symbols showing up for me to hold the space that I can actually move through this, because there's been a really big good girl concept for me too. And you don't let that up. You're a good daughter, you're a sweet sister, you're a good friend, you're a loving partner, and those concepts do not let up this darkness. And so yeah, it's just a blessing to be able to have mighty companions where I can actually slowly, because I feel like for me it's slowly slowly let the mask, like let it drop away, like inch by inch. It's like I keep remembering David said almost 2 years ago now at Into the Kingdom in Holland, he said, we are turtles for God. Turtles for God. And it was the first time I've ever heard that, and sometimes it just drops into my mind again, like, oh yeah, I don't have to be faster, I don't have to speed this up, I can just be a turtle for God and just allow the spirit to guide the pace in which I'm gonna drop this mask. And yeah, it's just a surrendering. Yeah.
Yeah, and we read through a lot of the questions that you all sent in, and there's some really good ones. I kind of felt like I would rather leave most of the questions for David to answer, because they're really deep questions, some of the ones you asked. But I felt like maybe we will just inadvertently answer many of them through our sharing, and we will open it up here shortly for questions as well. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to join us, you can still come in the room. I think Andy is going to put the link to register in there. But yeah, we were talking also about sexuality and roles. Like Susan and I have just been kind of exploring these kind of like stereotypical roles that come up in our relationship where, you know, like I can be like really, really busy like all day long with computer functions and communications, and then kind of feeling guilty, like I'm not paying attention enough to her, almost like I'm like in this role of a stereotypical workaholic husband who just works all day long and never pays attention to his wife. And and then I'll feel it, like I'll feel that Susan is kind of pulling away or starting to feel some sense of abandonment. And then yeah, recently I started to realize I actually just want to expand my mind so that I'm not just in some tunnel with all my work, but it's like including you as well. It's yeah, we've had a lot of just it's been pretty deep what's been coming up. I don't know if you want to share.
Yeah, well, my heart is racing. I feel, because I can definitely see that I've in my life before community, before this relationship, or definitely before community, and I was in different relationships. I was in a marriage for quite a long time, and then some relationships before that, but they were always kind of like, they were always seemed to be set up where my needs were met. I had a lot of attention on me. I had a lot of so-called support and, someone there to tell me I'm important and tell me I'm, special and like, just, how do you put it? Just that kind of like that part that just wants approval and wants to be loved, and the seeking love outside of myself part, just getting it, like getting its needs met that way. And what's cool is like when you really want to go for a deeper purpose in your mind and you want to really start to look at this stuff, then it seems like the Holy Spirit is going to bring you characters and situations that can turn whatever it was that you weren't looking at before on its head, and really actually expose the underbelly of the thought system. And so being with Eric has been very interesting that way, because it's really it's like the opposite in many ways of the way I set up my relationships before. Like he's not into like any of it in some ways. He's not into like, you're so wonderful or kind of thing. I mean, he can be affectionate, at times. Not sure what I'm trying to say here, but I think what I'm getting at is like Eric's function. I'm paired with someone whose function is very busy. He's not really there much. He's like the kind of absent, the absentee husband. That's what they call it. And really what it brings up for me is just all of this like beliefs about what a relationship is and what makes a relationship valuable, like what happens in a relationship, how, I've had like the ego interprets those needs not being met as loss and abandonment and lack, that there's something seriously wrong here and it needs to get corrected. But it's like the Holy Spirit seems it's like always about, no, let me look at this belief that there is even a lack in the first place, like that there is actually something missing, in your life or in your world or in the one that you're with. And so I feel like that's where there's just been so much washing happening, like every day. Like, just to give a really good example, it's like Eric will be on these calls in our room together, and I'm with him all day long, and I watch it, and they're usually with young women, and so they're with young women, and he's usually really happy and really appears to be very connected and intimate with them. And so it brings up a lot of jealousy, a lot of feelings of like I'm being rejected, I'm being ignored, I'm being hurt, and that. So when I look at all of it, I know that in my life before, I would have never tolerated anything like that with my husband or boyfriends or anything for a day, much less weeks of of that. And so now it's just more like what is it that I need to learn here about myself, and about what, like basically getting in deeper touch with what this getting mechanism is, and beginning to move it in the direction of giving. Like actually, because basically, the more I go into prayer each time, I'm actually being shown that it's in the giving. It's actually it's usually some form of guidance where I'm being directed out of these thoughts and into some kind of a project, or some kind of a way that actually lifts my mind out of these thoughts that are very interpersonal, and they're caught up in some kind of a story of someone who is a victim, actually, who's being hurt and who's being ignored, or is being, whatever it is, that victim story. And so what I feel like is one of my biggest lessons now is that it's only the Spirit and the Spirit's guidance when I pray, and each time I pray, that I can hear that that I'm wrong. Actually, my story is actually wrong. It doesn't bring me happiness. It doesn't. It actually just kind of keeps me feeling stuck and lost in these emotions. And it's in these redirection of the mind upwards. I feel it's like upwards, but it's in the direction of anything where the Spirit wants me to give, and give in a way that is really for the whole. I'm giving not for interpersonal gain, or for some kind of like self enhancement or anything like that. It's like I'm giving in a way that isn't from me. I'm not personally deciding how to give. It's really coming from the Spirit. And that's what I've experienced over and over again, is that when I do that, and I open my mind to that, the Spirit can actually come in and show me another way, and show me that actually the solution is not at the level of the problem. It's not at the level of this interpersonal dilemma, or a conflict or drama. It's actually not there at all. It's actually in the Spirit's. It's in the Spirit's solution. It's in the Spirit's completely different way of looking at it, and completely different direction in how to redirect what I'm doing, or what I'm thinking, actually, because it's ultimately what I'm thinking where it comes from. So yeah. So I just say at the very, very bottom of it is just that, it does take like just for me anyway, and all the time, it just keeps taking a lot of willingness to remember that the problem is not what I think. It's not at the level that I think it's at. But I need to be convinced of that over and over again. And so that's probably one of the best lessons I've had so far.